Synopsis of the Books of the Bible. Numbers. By J.N. Darby. All Scripture is given by inspiration of God, and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, that the man of God may be perfect, truly furnished unto all good works. 2 Timothy 3 verses 16 and 17. Synopsis of the Books of the Bible. By John Nelson Darby. Numbers chapters 13 and 14. Miriam and Aaron speak against Moses. Next, the pleasant land is despised. I shall here call the attention of the reader to some points mentioned on this subject in other parts of the Bible. See Deuteronomy 1 verses 20 to 23. Jehovah has brought the people to the borders of the land. Moses tells them to go up. The people propose sending spies. Moses consents. It seems that they had God's sanction, for they went according to the word of the Lord. But this request was prompted by the weakness and unbelief of the people. There are many things commanded of God, and which we are bound to do as soon as they are the object of a command from Him, in the result of which His ways are displayed, which, however, are only owing to our lack of faith. The consequence of it is, that the result abundantly confirms the faith of the faithful, of the remnant, but unbelief reaps what it has sown. So it is in this case. First, the report brought to Moses is in a right spirit, but the difficulties immediately present themselves, and unbelief measures them with man, instead of with God. Then the witnesses draw their words from the people's feelings and express a judgment founded on their unbelief. Having thus entirely departed in heart from the Lord, and fallen into the current of the unbelief of the people, through their own, they belie the convictions they had formed when enjoying the sight of the goodness of Jehovah, and come to declare that the land even is bad, and end with justifying themselves by complaining of God. For now, it is no longer Moses who has brought them here, it is God Himself. They accuse Him of it. Moreover, they cannot contain their rage against those whose faithful testimony condemns their unbelief. The consequences of the unbelief of the mass. How often is this the case, that the difficulties which draw out the unbelief of the heart lead to speak evil of the position to which we have been divinely called, and of which once we had tasted the blessedness? All flowed from forgetfulness of God. Was He a grasshopper, in comparison with the sons of Anak? What matter if walls were high if they fell down at the blowing of a ram's horn? But now God Himself interferes. They will be dealt with according to their faith. They shall perish in the wilderness, according to their wish. The faithful ones and the children will alone be brought into the land, but not without undergoing, in their march, the consequences of the unbelief of the mass. However, other hopes and other consolations will be their portion. Moses' intercession and its effect. The effect of the intercession of Moses is to obtain from God that the people should be spared, but this is his declaration: He will be glorified in judgment over a rebellious people who despise the promises, and the earth shall thus be filled with His glory. Moses here appeals to the revelation of the name of Jehovah, on which footing he governs the people, and not to the promises made to the fathers, and the answer he receives is in keeping with that name. Caleb prefigures the faithful remnant. Joshua is not named, verse 24, for he represents Christ introducing the people into the land of promise. Unbelief gives no escape from difficulties. At the end of the 40 years, Caleb was obliged to subdue, name for name, the same persons who had filled the souls of the spies with terror. Unbelief, when in spite of it we are to enjoy the effects of the promise, does not make us escape the difficulties. In fine, when we have judged the folly of unbelief, and we see the consequences of it, it is of no avail, because of these last, to undertake a work. God is not with us, and, if we persist in going up, we shall find the enemy such as our unbelief has pictured him to us.